90% of people fail to grow turmeric, and it starts before you even plant it. You bought a piece of turmeric at the grocery store, you stuck it in some soil, you waited, and nothing happened. Possibly for a very long time. You even checked on it daily, like it owed you money. Here's the thing. Turmeric is not a lazy plant. It's a particular plant, and there's a difference. Most guides skip right over the 5 things that actually determine whether your turmeric grows fast and healthy, or just sits there quietly judging your gardening skills. After growing turmeric in 5 completely different environments, in raised beds, in spaces that absolutely should not have worked. And in this video, I'm walking you through exactly what made the difference, starting with the one mistake almost everyone makes before they even touch the soil. That first secret alone saves you about 6 weeks of staring at dirt. But the second one? That's where most people completely fall apart, and it's not what you'd expect. Point 1. The rhizome wake-up secret. Turmeric doesn't grow from a seed. It grows from a rhizome, that knobby little underground stem that looks like ginger's slightly sunburned cousin. And here's what most people don't realize, that rhizome is dormant when you get it. It's not dead, it's just asleep. Like me before coffee. Not totally useless, just not ready yet. Before you ever plant it, you need to wake it up. And the way you do that is called pre-sprouting. Take your turmeric rhizome, fresh, firm, not shriveled, and place it somewhere warm. A sunny windowsill works perfectly, or on top of a refrigerator. Anywhere consistently between 65 and 75 degrees Fahrenheit. Then wrap it loosely in a damp paper towel, put it in a container, and wait 2 to 4 weeks. You'll start to see tiny little buds called eyes, pushing out from the sides. Those are your green light. That's when you plant. Do not skip this step. People who skip this step write comments like, "Turmeric never works for me." The rhizome was just not awake yet. You wouldn't plant a sleeping person in the garden either, or maybe you would. I don't know your neighbors. Pre-sprouting can cut your wait time from 3 or 4 months down to about 6 to 8 weeks. That's not a small thing. Turmeric has a long growing season, typically 8 to 10 months. You want every head start you can get. Now that gets your rhizome ready. But here's what a lot of experienced gardeners still get wrong once it's in the ground, and it has everything to do with temperature. Point 2, the soil temperature trap. This is the big one, the one that quietly kills more turmeric plants than anything else. Most people plant based on the calendar. It's May, it's warm outside, time to plant. Logical, reasonable. Wrong. Turmeric doesn't care what the calendar says. Turmeric cares about the soil temperature. Specifically, turmeric wants soil that is consistently at or above 65 degrees Fahrenheit at the root level, not the air, the soil. And here's where people get burned, or more accurately, where the turmeric doesn't get warm enough. Get a simple soil thermometer. They cost about $8. Push it into the ground where you plan to plant, about 3 to 4 inches deep, first thing in the morning. That's your coldest reading of the day. If it says 65 or above consistently, for a few days you're good to plant. If you're growing in containers, and we'll get to containers in a moment, you have a big advantage here. You can move them. Put them on a heat mat, bring them inside on cold nights. The turmeric will thank you in its quiet underground way. For those of you in cooler climates, starting indoors 6 to 8 weeks before your last frost date is the move. Black containers absorb heat faster. South-facing windows keep things warmer. Small details that add up. Turmeric is a tropical plant. It evolved in warm, humid environments. When you understand that, everything else about growing it starts to make sense. It's not being difficult, it's just being homesick. So now you've got a pre-sprouted rhizome, planted in warm soil. You're ahead of about 80% of people who try this. But there's a watering mistake that undoes all of it, and it surprises people every time. Point 3. The watering paradox nobody talks about. Turmeric loves moisture. It comes from tropical regions that get heavy rainfall, so naturally, people water it generously. And then a little more, just to be safe. And this is where things go sideways, or more accurately downward, into root rot. Turmeric needs consistent moisture, not constant waterlogging. There's a real difference. The soil should feel like a wrung-out sponge, moist, but not sitting in water. Here's the rule. Water deeply when the top inch of soil feels dry. Then stop. Let the water drain completely. Never let it sit in a pool at the bottom of a pot. That's a rot waiting to happen. During the active growing season, late spring through summer, you may need to water every 2 to 3 days, depending on your climate. In cooler weather, pull back significantly. Turmeric slows down in the cold. Its water needs slow down too. A thick layer of mulch on top, 2 to 3 inches, will help regulate moisture and keep the soil from drying out too fast. It also keeps weeds down. 2 birds, 1 very low-effort stone. Getting watering right is the difference between a plant that thrives and one that technically survives but never really commits to growing. You want commitment from your turmeric. It is a long-term relationship. 8 to 10 months, remember. Moisture is handled. But here's what most guides don't tell you about containers, because the depth of your pot matters more than almost anything else on this list. Point 4. Container depth, the Goldilocks zone. Turmeric grows underground. The rhizomes spread out and down, and they need room to do it. A shallow pot doesn't just limit growth, it actively stunts it. Most decorative pots are 4 to 6 inches deep. That is basically a bonsai turmeric situation. Charming, but not productive. You want a container that is at least 12 inches deep. 14 to 16 is better. Wide is also good. Turmeric spreads laterally as the plant matures. A pot that's 12 inches deep and 14 to 18 inches wide is your Goldilocks zone. Material matters less than drainage. Whatever pot you use, it must have drainage holes, multiple if possible. Turmeric will not forgive you for poor drainage. It keeps a very long memory. Literally, it stores everything underground. For soil, use a rich, loose, well-draining mix. A blend of potting soil, compost, and a little perlite works beautifully. Avoid heavy clay soils. They compact around the rhizomes and slow everything down. Plant your rhizome about 2 inches deep, buds facing up. Give it about 6 to 8 inches of space between rhizomes if you're planting more than one. The right container setup means you can grow excellent turmeric on a patio, a balcony, or even indoors near a very bright window. You don't need a garden. You don't even need a yard. You need depth, drainage, and a little patience, all 3 of which, incidentally, also describe a good retirement. Almost there. You've grown it. Now comes the mistake almost everyone makes at the end, and after 8 months of work, this one hurts. Point 5. Harvesting at the right time. Turmeric tells you when it's ready. You just have to know what to look for, because the above-ground part of the plant gives the signal, not the underground part. The rhizomes are harvested once the leaves and stems start to yellow and die back. This usually happens in late fall or early winter, about 8 to 10 months after planting. The plant is essentially saying, I'm done up here. Everything good is now underground. When the foliage has mostly yellowed, not just a little but mostly, stop watering. Let the soil dry out slightly over a week or 2. Then gently dig around the base of the plant and lift the entire root clump out. You'll find a cluster of rhizomes attached to a central mass. Brush off the soil carefully. You can use your fingers or a soft brush. Don't wash them yet. Let them cure first. Leave them in a warm, dry, ventilated spot for a week or 2. This curing process hardens the skin slightly and extends their shelf life significantly. After curing, wash them gently and use fresh or dry and powder them. And save a few pieces, the ones with the most eyes, to replant next season. Your turmeric is now self-funding, like a very small golden retirement plan. Harvesting at the right time means the difference between rhizomes that are dense, flavorful, and bursting with curcumin, and ones that are underdeveloped and mild. The patience you put in during the season pays off completely at the harvest. Everything turmeric does, it does slowly and deliberately. It's a plant worth waiting for. So here's where you are now. You know how to wake the rhizome up before it ever hits the soil. You know that soil temperature beats the calendar every single time. You know the difference between keeping turmeric moist and drowning it in good intentions. You know that depth is everything in a container. And you know how to read the plant's own signal to know exactly when to harvest. 5 things, none of them complicated. All of them completely overlooked by people who plant turmeric and wonder why it never gets going. You started this video thinking it was about planting tips. What you actually got was a complete system from dormant rhizome to fresh harvest that you can run in your backyard, on your patio, or right there in your kitchen window. Turmeric is one of the most useful plants you can grow at home. It's anti-inflammatory, it's flavorful, it's beautiful when it flowers, and it produces more than you planted every single year. Give it warmth, give it depth, give it time. It will give you plenty in return, which, when you think about it, is a pretty fair deal for a root vegetable. Happy growing.